Welcome to today's episode of the DDC podcast. I'm your host, Daniela Del Carpio, and I'm so happy to have you join me on this journey of unlocking your true potential. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss another episode of this podcast. Today, I'm going to be answering some of the questions that you guys asked me on Instagram, so let's jump straight into it. So question number 1 was, prefer low calories food to eat when cravings are high. So there are a few things that I do or always recommend whenever your cravings are high, or things that I do myself when my cravings are really, really high, which usually happens before my period because, you know, your hormones are all over the place, or it happens when I'm in a caloric deficit. So something that I'm doing right now. My go 3 things that I love to have, and I always have Pepsi Max or Coke Zero. I love them. Whatever we have available at home, it's something that I will grab and drink. Whenever my cravings are really, really high, I like to mix it with water just because I know it's nice and sweet, nice and refreshing, nice and cold. Even if it's winter, I still put ice. It's something nice just to drink. Other option that I like to have is sugar-free lollies. There are so many sugar-free lollies that you can get now, but you have to be very careful with actually how many calories they have. Just because they say they are sugar-free, this doesn't mean that they are calorie-free. Some of them are lower in calories, like 5 calories or 10 calories. But others can be 50 calories per lolly. So pay attention to what you buy and pay attention to the nutritional labels when you go and buy those sugar-free lollies. Don't always believe on what it says on the package. Don't always believe on the marketing, because remember, marketing, they just give you that because they want to sell it, they want to make money, they want to make profit out of this. So be very, very careful. And the last option that I like to have when my cravings are high is my aminos, because aminos are so nice and sweet. The ones that I love are from Optimum Nutrition. They have so many flavors. The one that I like the most is grape. That's always my go-to. I like to also drink it, not just during my workout, but whenever I feel like I'm really craving something sweet right now, I will just go get my shaker, put 1 or 2 scoops of the amino energy, and that's something I like to have. It doesn't matter how many scoops a day you have. The only thing to consider if you are taking the one from Optimum Nutrition is that one does have caffeine. So if you're someone who doesn't tolerate caffeine too well, then probably that's an option I wouldn't recommend. If you can tolerate caffeine, that's completely fine. But if not, again, be careful. Don't overdo it. Just because it's calorie free doesn't mean you can have the whole bottle in one day. Okay, second question is, what weight exercises should someone do to lose fat and tone up? Lighter or heavy weights? This is a great question because something I want to remind you guys, there are no specific exercises or exercise to lose fat. Remember that the exercise itself, it's not the magic tool or the magic something to make you all of a sudden lose all the body fat that you want. It's just something that we can use to help us and make it part of our fitness journey, but it's not everything. So if your goal is to lose body fat, something that I always recommend is to include weight training, because weight training has so many benefits, but one of them, or the main one I will say for losing body fat, is that when you add resistance to your training, so resistance training, you adding more weight, which means you're gonna gain more muscle mass, you're gonna tone up. This is a term that people often use. I want to get toned, but I don't want to get muscly. But remember, tone up means gaining more muscle mass. So you won't get muscly, but you're gonna gain more muscle mass, which is why you need that resistance training. Now, if you ask me, should I be doing lighter or heavier weights to help me lose that body fat and tone up? You want to be doing a mix of both, because if you only focus on doing one, let's say if you only focus on doing lighter weights, you will never be able to build that muscle mass that you want to tone up. And if you only focus on heavy weights, this is fine if you are a power lifter, this is fine if you want to increase your strength. But if your goal is purely just to lose body fat, make sure you mix it around. Make sure you start with some exercises with lighter sets, for example, leg extensions to warm up if you're doing legs, then move into your heavy compound lifts, go a little bit lower with the weights, with the reps, and higher with the weights. So you always want to mix it up. The answer is just have fun and don't just focus on one single thing only. Okay, next question. Hola, hi. I struggle with eating lots to bulk. Do you have any easy eating recipes? Recipes, yes, I do have loads, but obviously I cannot share it here on the podcast. But something that I will suggest if you are struggling to eat a lot, because whenever we are trying to gain more muscle mass, we have to be on a calorie surplus, which means we have to add more calories. And that can often be a struggle. You might be surprised if you haven't done this before, but eating more can honestly be a struggle. At least for me is, and I know other people struggle. So something I will suggest, if you are doing this right now, make sure on your meals you always have something that's high in fats, because fats, you get 9 calories per gram. So it's going to be much easier to increase your calories having something that's with, let's say, peanuts, almonds, cashews, any nuts, avocado, and oils and things like that. Just an easy way to add more calories, add more dense foods to your meals. Yes, it will keep you full, but it's just going to make it easier to eat more. And you don't need to eat every single hour. Something else that I would also suggest is that if you can include snacks, like if right now you're only having 3 meals, add some snacks just to make it easier for yourself. Because if you're eating too much in just one meal, you're probably gonna get sick, you're gonna get too full, and you won't be able to have your next meal until later. And then it's just gonna get messy and it's gonna get too much. So if you can, of course, have your main meals plus some snacks, make it easier for you, break it down, make sure you have fats, protein, and carbs, but especially higher in fats, just to add those calories. Okay, next question. What's the best approach for fat loss? The best and the only approach that I will suggest is just to keep things simple, keep it realistic, and be consistent with what you are doing. Because if you are not being consistent, I can guarantee that you are not going to see the results that you want. If you're only doing this for 1 week, for 2 weeks, or even for 1 month only, you will never lose the weight that you want to lose. And you want to keep it realistic, because if you're being too restrictive, if you're cutting out or removing too many food groups, again, you're not going to enjoy it, you're not going to sustain it, you will never be able to lose that body fat. Where if you're trying to lose body fat, just think about, okay, how can I do this without me feeling too restrictive? How can I do this, but at the same time enjoy what I'm doing? How can I do this, challenge myself, but also don't starve myself? Because that's something, trust me, you don't want to do. That's something I've done in the past, and I don't want you to make the same mistake. Find something. If you don't know, get a coach, get someone that can help you, get someone that can keep you accountable, whether it's a coach, your friend, or someone that loves you, that you love, that you can trust, to ensure that you are on the right path. Next question is, what do you think about cheat days? Cheat days. I honestly don't think anything about them. I feel like this is one of those topics that so many people are just they just make it sound like, don't say cheat day, don't say cheat meals, like you shouldn't be cheating on your meals, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. But people just like to complain about everything, people just like to moan. I personally don't think there's anything wrong with the term cheat days. I want to say cheat meals, because cheat days, I feel like it's just too much. Cheat days is the whole day. That's something you don't want to do if you're trying to lose body fat or even gain muscle mass. So cheat meals, I think, is something that's perfect. I don't see why you should include one once a week, because you don't want to be having KFC every single day. You don't want to be having McDonald's every single day. Even though we want to keep the approach flexible and realistic, you also have to think about your health. You also have to think about your cholesterol levels, your blood circulation, your cardiovascular system, your heart, everything. If you're having too many takeaways, even if it fits your calories, even if you're losing weight, is this really going to benefit you long term? I can guarantee the answer is no. So cheat meal is just that one meal that you can enjoy, that is not part of your meal plan, that gives you that nice little break, that makes you enjoy something. It helps you to not to feel guilty when you're having that thing, and you just have something every now and then you enjoy, you have it, and then back the next day on track with your meal plan, and you can see results and you can be happy. But let me know your opinion, guys. Let me know what you think about the term cheat meals. Okay, next question is, any specific foods I should eat before and after my training? I think it just depends. Depends how many meals a day you are having. For example, if you're someone who's right now only having 3 meals a day, I feel like maybe you're going to be too hungry by the time you do your workout and too hungry after. So if that's the case, I will say include some snacks just to ensure that you are eating something before and after. Not because you like you have to have this and that, but it's because if you don't have that, you're simply going to feel tired. You simply won't have that energy to push yourself at the gym. So do something that works for you. Include something that has carbs, include something that has protein. That way you're getting those nutrients before and after your training. So a good example before your training will be, let's say, some rice cakes with banana and peanut butter. So you have protein, fats, and carbs. And something that you can have after is something that is easy to digest. So it can be, if it's your dinner time, it can be your chicken and your rice with your veggies. It can be a wrap with beef, or sweet potato or potato and beef. Just something nice and simple. It doesn't have to be, there's just too many options that people tell you. It just keep it very simple, and that's everything that you need. And last question that we have is, I have been on a caloric deficit for about 4 months, and I cannot see any changes. Any tips? Yes, any tips? Some tips that I will give you is, you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to ask yourself, okay, am I really on a caloric deficit? Are the calories that you are doing right now, that you're eating right now, are they low enough? Or maybe they are too low? How is my body has plateaued? Am I really seeing changes? Or maybe you're not seeing any changes at all. It can be that you are making changes, but you're only focusing on the numbers on the scale, and you're not really seeing your progress pictures. It can be that you are not sticking to your deficit, to your program 100%. It can be that your body is getting used to this deficit, so it's not making any more progress. So something I will say is, evaluate what's going on and then change something. If you're not eating enough, start adding more calories. Don't be afraid of eating more. I know it can be scary because you might feel like you're going to put on body weight, but sometimes eating more is the answer. Trust me, I've done it with my clients, and once I start increasing the calories, the results are amazing. The results are something completely different. So try that. And if you're still struggling, make sure to send me a DM or talk to me so I can help you with this. That's everything for today. It's only a few questions. I don't want to make this podcast too long, but I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you have your questions, please send it to me on Instagram so I can do another Q&A for next week. Make sure to share it on your Instagram. Tag me at Daniela del Carpio. Until next time, and don't ever stop believing in yourself. Ciao.